Carl visits Woozy, who explains that his business is in trouble. Apparently, Woozy is concerned about one of the city's mafia family, the Leone mafia family or Forelli or Sindaco. Someone of them making shit to Woozy business. He intends to do everything he can to keep the families away from casino. Woozy offers Khan a deal, help the casino in exchange for a share of the business. Khan happily agrees. Later, Woozy's subordinate arrives and says that several mobsters were roaming through the property, and one of them was cut. It turned out to be Johnny Sindaka. Woozy orders to kill him, but CJ had a better idea: torture him. He wants to tie Johnny to the hood of the fetcher and intimidate him. Soon Carl heads to the garage, where he finds Johnny tied to the hood. Carl leaves the garage and drives through the city at high speed to find out which family he belongs to. Exactly, Carl learns he is a member of Sindaka family and returns to the casino. Well, it's something a rash decision because they will seek revenge, and it's unclear who exactly. Now it's clear that Carl, a black man, stands out among the Asians if you had not noticed. It's also odd that he's supposed to be driving on busy roads, not deserted ones, and no one called the police, so what's going on here? Anyway, little about Las Venturas, aka Las Vegas. It's obviously allusion to Las Vegas, of course. It's a really interesting place. According to information I've gathered online, various international mafias actually operate here and have casinos business. These casinos are so intoxicated with debauchery that anyone and everyone steals there. The dealers steal when they take bets, the cashiers steal when they exchange money, the security guards steal when carrying bags of cash to the sorting room, those counting the money stolen they steal at every turn, plus there are definitely local cheaters hanging out there. What's surprising is that according to information I've gathered, the manager isn't even allowed into the sorting room in casino, so they can steal easily. Workers. In any case, despite the stealing at every turn, the casino still carries an incredible amount of cash for mafia. Well, Carl just scanned Johnny Sindaka and added to death, revealing that Sindaka's family is responsible to problems caused by Woozy in the casino. Carl believes the mafia families are working together and decided to weaken their influence in town by robbing the casino. Woozy suggested dynamite from an open pit mine, believing the explosives would be useful in the robbery in future. And it's right. Carl goes to the mine where he retrieves the dynamite, which is about to be detonated, and escape the mine, evading security. Carl then delivers the explosion to his assistant, Guppy, named Guppy, who is waiting for CJ near the mine. Obviously, this scene is far from realistic, of course. It would have been more realistic to buy the dynamite from the management company through connections. Of course, corruption connections. Because in the Wild West, where there were a ton of fake mining companies which were nothing more than miners in name, they exist only to get permission to buy dynamite. After all, dynamite was an industrial tool and explosive for the army and not for the sale to everyone. Carl and Woozy are playing cards in Woozy's office. Woozy loses and complains to Carl that he brings Woozy bad luck. Yeah, I've been blind to play cards, great idea. Afterwards, Guppy, assistant of Woozy, arrives and shows Woozy more two chips. He assumes one of them chips is counterfeit. Carl examines the chips, and one of them is indeed fake. It's applied noted during the scene that Woozy is blind and doesn't understand what's going on, and then how does he understand? Woozy accuses the Sindaka family of manufacturing containers at the family-owned factory. Enraged, he decides to destroy the plastic factory where the containers were being made. Carl asks Woozy to come down and say, "I would do this business myself." Carl heads to the White State factory. Once the car realizes the main entrance is guarded and heads to the other stage. Once inside, Carl is immediately spotted by two people, and everyone in the factory immediately become aware of it. The head of the plant ordered killed Carl, and the machine is protected. Carl kills all guards, destroys machines. He returns to the casino with GPS. Carl how it went. Carl says the fake coins won't bother them anymore. Mr. Truce calls to Carl and tells him that Mr. Truce took Paul and Mecca deep in the desert on a cactus safari a few nights ago and asked him to fight him. Because, drug person can do everything in the desert. He remembered taking them to Arco del Oeste. Carl goes there and finds them. They ask him to take them to the snake farm, that is attacked by farmers, and they drive to Caligula Palace Casino in Las Venturas. Paul introduces Carl to Rosie. Carl calls Rosie and says he's found a way to rob the casino without raising suspicion. It could be Carl Johnson who can fight, because war is absolute in our life. Heinz calls Rosie in the technical room of his casino. They discuss plan of the robbery of Caligula Casino on the location of the money. I don't think the casino robbery makes any sense other than for action. After all, the casino owners could lie about how much colored papers thieves stole at them and receive a cash benefit exceeding the loss, because they can say, "Oh, we don't have money to pay debt. It was stolen $50 million and was stolen $1 million. Besides, the insurance would cover the robbery." In any case, the first step in preparing the need to several photographers of the casino floor plan. In any case, the first step is preparing the needs for several photographs of the casino floor plan for robbery in Caligula Casino in future. To do this, Carl goes to the Las Vegas plan department. There, the plans are kept under tight cut. First, Carl gets a camera and then enters the apartments. There he discovers a large police presence, making it impossible to take unauthorized photographs. So Carl sabotages the operation by breaking in an oil conditioner that's terribly starting a fire. In the smoke, he kills several guards and takes the necessary photos and takes them to the Four Dragons Casino. By this point, everyone had stopped counting how many Gamma Sapiens Carl had needlessly shoot in the thirst of cutted colored paper. And it sadness me how interesting the action in the GTA San Andreas and how boring the fan law created by famous GTA players is often. For example, there is a GTA San Andreas role-playing service, right down to hard roleplay where you need to be realistic as possible, and there is no quality storytelling anywhere. Players perceive the game character as themselves. If your game character gets shot or robbed, you're immediately losing real life. In your mind, of course. It's schizophrenia. Few people are interested in creating story and interested in high quality subject in GTA San Andreas. By the way, it's just few persons. But just in case, I have a deal. If the audience responds well, we could either create a player cell on the existing server for some local criminal gang game to create a monumental story, or even create our own platform, for example, for realizing the story in form of fan version of Stalker. Every Stalker, Trader, Soda, Bandit, Mega, Mutant, or Monolith member, or Mercenary, or Military would be real, living Gamma Sapiens. It would be really interesting. Using Carl need to obtain an access card to the back of office of Caligula Palace Casino. To do this, Carl meets casino employee Miller Perkins, a courier, and tries to gain her trust, after which she gives Carl the access card. According to the scenario, Carl must follow Millie from the casino to her home. Along the way, she stops at the sex shop, and Carl overhears a phone conversation revealing that Millie is a fan of BDSM. In fact, rushing on for another date, having purchased a free costume, concludes almost of all your view. Carl follows Millie to her home, where after eliminating Millie's fucker, he enters her apartment. You can speed up the game and avoid meeting Millie multiple times to reach the required 35% of trust to progress through the quest and obtain the access card. You can simply kill her after the first meeting. I wish quests like this exist in real life to get $1 million or $1 billion, and for this you need to fuck women and beat them with wipes. That's a dream! By the shaman dumb generals leaving the casino without power for robbing in future. Batman Robin for robbing Caligula Palace Casino in future. To do this, under cover of night, Carl takes off from Las Venturas Airport, is prepared Nevada plane and lands near the dam, embedded in the plane, so it's fate. After eliminating the guards and infiltrating the hydroelectric power station, Carl mines the generators and leaves the dam. Jokes only. Jokes under jokes and after jokes before jokes. Real terrorist attack have already begun, all for the sake of robbing the casino for cutted colored paper. as if there could be an easy way to make a living by sabotaging the enemies without having to blow up the dam just to steal a day's take. Okay, maybe not just days, but weeks. Certainly not months. Next you need to steal 4 copies motorcycle, 1 armored car, and car can start robbing. You know, Black Robert is Robin. Car doesn't want to commit a robbery in broad daylight and steal a Caligula armored van. He suggests stealing a regular one from a warehouse and then branding it with the Caligula logo. But this task is complicated by the fact that no one except Car knows how to fly. The cars need to infiltrate the evasion field about himself, kill all the soldiers, and destroy the Hunter helicopter. Steal a Leviton, a cargo helicopter with magnetic crane. From there, head to the warehouse to steal the van, and then head to the abandoned effort with the van. Well, I understand in GTA San Andreas, at least they could have made it clear, I don't know, the cartels are going crazy there. Well, should have sold us again to steal the helicopter. Holy shit, how much Gamma Sappers killed Count Johnson to get only 100 grants cutted colored paper? What a maniacus! The haste itself is coming soon. But for now, before robbing Caligula Palace, Car is carrying out a mission related to the Italo-American Mafia. This is to legitimate them, as once you've moved to another country and lived there for 2 generations, all ties to your homeland are often severed immediately. Car enters the office and finds a troubled Ken Rosenberg. Ken asks Paul to say about our problems to Car. Rosenberg explains it. Everything used to be great, but now he's the middleman for three Mafia's family, Leonis, Forelis, and Syndicus. Because none of them will trust any of others to run the casino, the families hate each other, so clash between them could be dangerous for him, King, as the family might blame him, making him the next target. To make matters worse, the Forelis learned of Johnny Syndicus, who is recovering from a coma Car inflicted on him in the hospital. Car volunteers to move the body to the location to keep Ken out of the danger. That's St. Ken Rosenberg from GTA Vice City. And even if you know, you can get bonus disc by buying PlayStation version of GTA San Andreas, or even find it in YouTube to see that Ken Rosenberg even had a so-called talking with Tommy Rossetti. I'm saying so-called because Tommy's assistant says that Ken Rosenberg not allowed to talk him. Well, we don't know what they did in the past. I head to the hospital. One day he searched for Johnny Syndicus, but the receptionist woman says someone picked him up in an ambulance. Carl realized it must be one of the family members who took Johnny. So he runs out and goes looking for the ambulance that took Johnny. He eventually found the right one. To command the ambulance, he suddenly crashed into it, forcing the family members to exit. Carl climbs into the ambulance and makes his way to the meat-packing plant in Wildwood Estates. Along the way, more family members appear, but Carl avoids them. He then arrived at the slaughterhouse where 2 members of Syndicus family approach Johnny and take him away, who is in a wheelchair. And I remember that it's Forelli family tried to kidnap Johnny. So there is conflict between Italo-Americans and Mafias. Ken Rosenberg is hiding cocaine when Carl walks in. The drug bust Ken confidence. He is man for now. And show who is boss in the house. Well, Man City, because he went out from house. Ken decided to go to the Syndicus family slaughterhouse to visit Johnny Syndicus and say hi, who is recovering after being released from the hospital. Ken drives to Wildwood Estates where the slaughterhouse is located. When they arrive at the slaughterhouse, Carl tries to hide, knowing after that if John recognizes him, there will be trouble. However, Ken asks Carl to come with him, and as his confidence has been snaked, unfortunately, Johnny suffers another heart attack when the car emerges from the shadow during the meeting and then dies. The Syndicus gang members realize that Johnny suffered a heart attack due to previous encounter with Carl and begin attacking him again. Carl and Rosenberg leave the slaughterhouse and making sure there are no surviving white witnesses, and then return to Caligula Palace. During the drive back, he realizes that what will happen to him after what happened. Carl promises to think of a way to get him out of the trouble. Well, what is the confidence that depends of black man? Carl and Ranfurly entered the room, enthusiasm to sig in the papers. After that, Carl and Ranfurly become so honest. As I understand, the planned mission was supposed to involve picking Ranfurly from the airport and shooting back at Italos along the way, but it was cut. Now Carl is a big fish, and his life has definitely improved to being shark man. He has 3 businesses in San Fierro, 0 RC shop that bring 5 grand in day, 1 cars that bring 8 grand in day, and garage in Doherty that brings 2 grand in day. And now he also had a stake in the 4 Dragons Casino, which brings about 10 grand a day. Total 25 tons a day. And generally, Carl will very soon become a billionaire at this rate. And at Mad Dog, things didn't go well as Carl Johnson has. Carl is strolling through Las Vegas and sees Mad Dog trying to make suicide on the roof of the Royal Casino. Several people watching tell Carl that Mad Dog is a rapper who had fallen out of fever. Carl tries to talk him out of jumping, but Mad Dog ignores him and jumps. Carl saves him, and now they are friends. Mad Dog offers Carl the change to be his manager since his previous manager was killed anyway by some no one knows about by some who knows reason. Well, Carl agrees. Science can Rosenberg. And if you see more deeply, you see that in Las Vegas, Las Venturas, really much casinos. It's near like 50, I numbered before, than was played. It's really much, but we see only 2. For Dragons and Caligula, as mean. Others not represented, pity, but we have at least decorations. After Carl Johnson killed few federal agents for stealing papers for Frank Tempany dossier, he comes to meet him in the desert. Then Carl gets kidnapped briefly by Tempany, who kills his snitch friend and forces Carl to dig 2 graves to himself, and he is now decided colleagues and dangerous business. Carl tries to talk Pulaski out of it, but judging by his face, he's a redneck who drives a tractor. What are you trying to convince him of? Stupid, nothing more. Meanwhile, the hot-blooded Mexican Hernandez turned out to be alive since Tempany never served in the army, and didn't know that so-called dead men must be finished off with a couple of shoots, just in case, for situation if something would go wrong. So Carl takes advantage of the opportunity to undermine the regime and ultimately orchestrates a rebellion and the murder of Pulaski. Who would force anyone such a stupid shit like a dead grave for the person you planned to kill? Even a former criminal said you should first dig a hole so big enough so you can hide his body, bring body, hide them quickly and accurately without unnecessary purpose. And if we are too lazy to dig, what are you trying to do in this life, by the way? A similarly hilarious idiotic scenario occurs to The Sopranos when Yugoslav was targeted for assassination and forced to dig a grave. He hit the captors over the head with a shovel and escaped. And then, due to poor preparation, he spent the night in the middle of nowhere in the winter, and they had no idea how to get out because they had not prepared at all. I want to say that Las Venturas, it's really seated with full, high-quality, individual mapping that we even don't see. There is really much places, really beauty, much hotels that we don't see because of, I don't know, maybe it cut it game budget, maybe no, but there is represented really much hotels, really much casinos, really much places I wanted to visit, and only in Zombie San Andreas Modificator I visited all of them. And in standard GTA San Andreas I don't. Pity, but not at all. Since Ken Rosenberg introduced Carl to his colleagues in the dangerous business, Salvatore now invites him. Salvatore is sitting in the office at Caligula Palace when Maria appears and gives him a sandwich he ordered. After some time, Carl Johnson appears and tells Salvatore that he worked with his son Joey Leone in Liberty City, and then he can do whatever Salvatore wants from him to make more colored paper for his Negro's business. Then Salvatore informed Carl that the Shamal was arriving at the airport soon, carrying mercenaries who were planning to kill Salvatore. Carl then headed to Las Vegas airport and he checked the door. He intercepted the Shamal and following it, later jumping out of the door and boarding the place carrying the mechanist. Carl killed the mechanist and the pilot and landed safely in the airport, completing the mission and forgetting about 10 dead bodies in airport, because airport, even those time 92 year past age, was security, and there is much, treatments. I never mind GT. Next, Salvatore wanted to deal another blow to Forelli. To do this, Karl Ivanov's son went to the plane and flew to Liberty City. He then took a taxi to a bistro and killed all the talents inside, then outside. After this showdown, CJ flew the Shamal to the runway and landed. As you see, Liberty City not much represented in this part of game. It was only in introduction to GTA San Andreas that I'm sure you've not seen on YouTube. It's in a 30-minute video. In this introduction we just saw that Carl Johnson, how he making money by robbing white men, of course, because he's black, some kind of racism in Rockstar, and live like this, because it's all represented Liberty City in GTA San Andreas. Next comes to the Caligula heist, and even babies know that planning to do Carl because cleaner, plumber, and electrocon of for Dragon's Casino see this robbery plan. What kind of annoying joke is it? The finalized heist plan looks like this. Carl disguised himself as a croupier and infiltrates the casino back office using medicards, neutralizes the safeguard and opens the warehouse gates for the main age group led by Uzi. The gang blows up the safe door, takes the cash and escaped in armored, very armored car, accompanied by a fake police motorcycle convoy. Carl remains as bait, escapes the casino on his own, drops the tail, and then reunites with the robbers as they were down the Meadows airfield. Zero is in charge for the technical equipment. A cool mission, the reward required of cartoons. Cartoons? What the hell wrong with Google Translate? I mean, I'm not surprised since the safe cannot contain protest if it's been stored for too long. And casino robbery, not realistic, of course, because it would be not profitable to rob casino because there would be not much colored paper, but this isn't seen so-called money. It's not means money. It would be not profitable because of our today's economic in all countries exist by speed rules. You need bring everything fast as you can, sell fast as you can, and not in its bad. Then you have your own goods and warehouse so long because it took money, less abilities to grow your business. Less abilities to grow your business, you cannot survive the crisis that would bring you politics. After robbery Casino La Palace in total, Carl Johnson anyway have his person from Caligula Palace because of Ken Rosenberg, and Ken Rosenberg is being sent to rehab because he is more troubled than his boss. And now he can safely leave Las Venturas. Karl Ivanovich has 3 other businesses there: the airport where he trained to fly, and a stake into casino. And it's too early to think about billion-trillionaire life for Carl Johnson, because Mike Trainer asked C-Dojo to blow up 4 spy ships using a fighter jet stolen from the US Navy, and also to bring it to the airport. Fortunately, he will hide it somewhere or send it somewhere else. No commentaries on this mission, guys. You know how it relates to real life. Flying a fighter jet is not a crop duster. It requires skills that have been honed for years,